que ya lo tienen ubicado, nomás lo están dejando ser y ser y ser. Al momento de agarrarlo, ahí vas a sacar la noticia grande, pues. Y lo van a inflar como una noticia gigante.
0407 hours. The airfield at Mobile still glows from generator lights. Floodlights rake across wet asphalt, where 500 detainees kneel in 2 straight lines, hands bound, faces streaked with rain. A pair of CH-47s idle 50 meters away, rotor wash flattening the yellow police tape. On the tarmac lie the trophies, sealed crates, open duffels, rifles in rows, bundles of cash, metallic under halogen glare. The temperature is 18 degrees, wind steady at 15 knots from the southwest. Commanders talk in clipped bursts over encrypted radios, their boots sloshing through puddles. One laptop screen shows captured footage from hours earlier. Gunfire, tracer arcs, engines screaming over the Gulf. Every number looks impossible. Every face looks local. 0432 hours. That is when the operation name finally appears on the comms log. Operation Deep Current. 6 states, 11 cities, 1 synchronized timeline. It began when a single freighter's signal went dark near Houston. Analysts cross-referenced cargo data at 0120 and realized the drop matched coordinates used by a cartel cell. The decision came 90 seconds later. Launch authorization confirmed by 3 agencies. Convoys rolled before the storm hit. The mission objective looked simple. Dismantle a decade-old network distributing synthetic narcotics across the southern corridor. No one expected the coordination to turn against them. 0258 hours, the port of Houston under rain, helmet cams stream gray pixels of moving shadows, 32 agents from ICE, DEA, and DHS stack at Dock 14, Bravo. Water cascades from the hull of a Liberian-flagged freighter named Anwen Star. Visibility 20 meters, gusts at 40 kilometers per hour. Execute on mark, the team leader says, voice steady. 4 charges detonate in sequence, dull thuds under the storm. Boarding ladders slap metal, agents climb, weapons steady, red dots slicing fog. Inside the hold, pallets shift, plastic wrap glistening under headlamps. 2 suspects bolt through steam lines. A flashbang pops. 1 man dives overboard, disappearing in the churn. Within 3 minutes, the deck is secured. Data tags flicker on the command feed. Boxes scanned, serials logged. Chemical readings spike near container 24 Golf. Agents cut the seal. Instead of narcotics, they find circuit boards, routers, stacked in protective foam. 1 tech pulls a drive, labels it control node. Command interprets it as smuggling gear. They call the hold clean and mark the vessel neutralized. 30 minutes later, the freighter erupts in an internal explosion. No casualties, just debris. On shore, analysts replay the blast frame by frame and realize the devices were transmitters. The decoy worked. The network now knows the time of the raid. 0317 hours, Biloxi cargo yards. Infrared drones hover at 100 to 20 meters altitude. Heat signatures blinking among rows of containers. Rain hammers the metal roofs. Federal vehicles idle with lights off. At signal green, agents breach the main gate at 40 kilometers per hour. Armored trucks pushing aside barriers. Forklifts scatter, the headlights flaring in the downpour. Gunfire snaps between container stacks, white sparks off steel. 2 suspects drop. Teams sweep through, clearing alleys by grid coordinate. 1 crane operator refuses orders to halt. A sniper round shatters the cab glass. The machine swings uncontrolled, chain clattering. By 0340, silence. 20 arrests, 2 wounded agents, narcotics nowhere to be found. In the command trailer, soaked analysts review telemetry. The cargo database shows containers tagged but empty. The supervising agent leans over the console, convinced the seizure is working as designed. He notes the operations clock is 4 minutes ahead of schedule. Nobody notices the uplink on the same crane, transmitting encrypted bursts toward Louisiana. The false sense of precision settles in. Radios crackle with congratulations. The belief, coordination is perfect. The reality, their own system is being mirrored. 0356 hours. Inside the regional command bridge at New Orleans, 20 screens pulse blue and orange. The map fills with icons representing mobile teams from Texas to Florida. Rain interference distorts the satellite feed. Delay spikes to 2.6 seconds. The operations officer attributes it to the storm front. He reroutes bandwidth through state networks for stability. On one display, a weather radar spins. On another, incoming alerts scroll from local police servers. Everything looks orderly. Too orderly. Comms chatter repeats the same confirmation codes across multiple cities. The algorithm running the synchronization routine flags 0 anomalies. It's a lie the software can't recognize. 0410 hours, Baton Rouge Highway Corridor. Dash cams catch the lead suspect convoy. A black Suburban and 2 pickups, racing north at 130 kilometers per hour. Federal interceptors cut across lanes, sirens suppressed, rain sheets down, visibility barely 20 meters. One vehicle swerves into a ditch, another rams a barrier. Automatic fire erupts from the Suburban's rear window. Muzzle flashes blinding in the storm. A pursuing SUV absorbs the rounds, front glass fracturing but holding. "Target 2 kilometers ahead," someone yells over radio. The commander authorizes a roadblock. Steel spikes deploy across asphalt. At 0413, the convoy hits. Tires shred, metal grinds. The chase ends in smoke and steam. Agents pull the suspects from vehicles, shouting commands over engine noise. One man tries to flee into the median. A single warning shot halts him. Within 90 seconds, 6 detainees kneel on soaked pavement, headlights strobing red. Backup units approach from the south. A misread in GPS positioning places them only 200 meters away, instead of 2 kilometers. The 2 convoys collide near the roadblock, one at 60 kilometers per hour. Impact shatters windshields and crushes a communications van. Radios go silent for 20 seconds. Command logs it as interference. The operation continues, unaware that coordination is fracturing in real time. 0422 hours, inside the New Orleans command center. Power dips. Monitors flicker. Half the feeds drop to static. A systems tech calls out an intrusion alert. Source internal. Firewalls seal, isolating field teams still mid-assault. The commander orders a hard disconnect to prevent contagion. The action cuts uplinks for 83 units currently deployed. Now, every squad runs on preloaded mission data, stored on portable tablets. None can be updated, recalled, or warned. The officer watches the map freeze. Little icons continue to move, driven by autonomous clock cycles. He doesn't know it yet, but physics has taken command. 0430 hours, Gulf-wide sweep begins. Across Louisiana, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle, doors burst open almost simultaneously. Helicopters hover at 60 meters, rotor wash scattering debris across rooftops. Agents storm warehouses, storage lots, private homes. Flashbangs ignite corridors. Gunfire ricochets through metal walls. Drones hover at 500 feet, capturing heat plumes from engines and explosions. Arrest counts climb by the minute, 100, 200, 400. Vehicles block intersections. Armored carriers seal bridges. The operation appears flawless. Yet timestamps reveal that many targets had already fled, leaving decoy caches and booby traps timed to detonate on entry. 0451 hours, Pensacola Industrial Park. A team breaches a warehouse door with shaped charges. Pressure wave rolls across the lot, setting off alarms in neighboring buildings. Inside, boxes labeled fertilizer stack to the ceiling. A forensic sensor reads ammonia levels climbing fast. Agents evacuate, 2 tripping over power cables. Outside, a van marked maintenance speeds off at 80 kilometers per hour, disappearing under the freeway. The chemical leak later proves staged. Smoke grenades hidden inside the stacks. Still, the log marks the site cleared. On the secure network, a success indicator flashes green. Each false victory feeds the next deployment. 0508 hours, west of Tallahassee, a rural airstrip. Twin-engine aircraft sits idling at the edge of the runway, nose pointed east. Infrared shows 3 figures loading crates. A convoy of DHS vehicles approaches from the north at 90 kilometers per hour, tires throwing mud. The lead truck's spotlight locks on the aircraft just as it begins to roll. Gunfire rattles through the rain. One engine flares, then dies. Agents swarm, tackle the pilots, drag them across wet gravel. In the background, a second aircraft lifts from a parallel strip, unnoticed. The arrest log records success. The missed plane carries the operation's stolen communication drives. 0520 hours. New Orleans Command regains limited power. The intrusion has stopped. The screens display frozen footage from earlier assaults. Someone rewinds the feeds, comparing timestamps. A pattern emerges. Every raid preceded by 2 minutes of target movement. It's impossible without foreknowledge. Analysts overlay maps, track data leaks to a single port used hours earlier. Houston. The realization hits like a detonation. The network had mirrored the federal system from inside, predicting every strike by reading its own clock. Orders to halt transmissions come too late. The last teams are already executing their final tasks automatically. 0540 hours. The storm begins to lift. On radar, dots scatter and fade. Field teams regroup at collection points. Prisoners loaded into the transports. At least 3 agents injured, none killed. Casualties among suspects unknown. Crates of narcotics, rifles, and counterfeit currency fill flatbed trucks lined up for inspection. Helicopters circle low, downdrafts stirring smoke from still smoldering sites. Commanders exchange numbers over satellite phones. 427 arrests confirmed, 16 high-value targets missing. The sense of triumph feels forced. Everyone knows the system itself was used as bait. 0615 hours. Houston again, daylight breaking over the flooded port. Investigators wade through ankle-deep water on Dock 14 Bravo. They find fragments of the Anwen Star's control node equipment, fused by heat. One technician measures residual frequencies. The pattern matches encryption keys used by the Federal Operations Grid. It means the raid's timing came from hardware planted months earlier during maintenance. The same keys synchronized both sides. The network wasn't infiltrated. It was built into the infrastructure. Someone inside had scheduled success and failure at the same second. 0637 hours. Biloxi Command Post. Boxes of confiscated devices line the floor. A digital forensics team catalogs drives under ultraviolet lamps. One device blinks once, transmitting its final packet before shutdown. The monitor captures the outgoing route, federal backbone address, internal routing code. The room goes silent. The lead agent closes the laptop and locks it in a steel case. No one speaks. Outside, the air smells of ozone and diesel. Power lines hiss from rain. The operation has ended, but its echo continues through every compromised circuit. 0710 hours. Mobile airfield again. Helicopters idle, waiting for extraction orders. Rain has slowed to mist. On the runway, agents kneel beside sealed evidence crates, markers written in black ink. One crate bursts open under pressure, revealing compressed bricks of synthetic powder stacked with military precision. The officer in charge notes weight, 4 metric tons. He circles the number and signs off. Nearby, detainees are loaded into C-130s under armed guard. Each step splashes water onto the tarmac. One pilot checks his wristwatch. Takeoff in 9 minutes. Engines spool to full power. The mission clock continues, though no one trusts it anymore. 0738 hours. At Regional Command, technicians rebuild the network link to Washington. Data uploads begin. Gigabytes of video, sensor telemetry, arrest logs. As packets flow, a progress bar climbs to 93%, then halts. The system requests authentication from a key that no longer exists. Silence in the room. They realize the authentication file was among the data stolen on the aircraft from Tallahassee. The connection severs. A single line remains on screen. Transfer incomplete. The senior officer stares at it for several seconds before ordering all terminals powered down. 0815 hours. The sky clears. Sunlight glints off the flooded marshes. Convoys move west along Interstate 10, tires hissing on wet asphalt. Each vehicle carries detainees, evidence, or silence. Radio chatter drops to minimal. Fuel status, distance, ETA. The operation log records the mission as successful with a notation pending review. Field agents accept it because procedure demands closure. Yet each knows the success is statistical, not real. Somewhere beyond radar range, the missing data plane descends toward the Caribbean. Its transponder dark. 0900 hours. At a temporary command tent outside Baton Rouge, officials brief the press. They list numbers, drugs seized, suspects detained, lives saved. Cameras click, pens scratch. No mention of system compromise, no talk of timing leaks. Behind the tent, equipment technicians dismantle servers, stacking them onto flatbeds bound for secure facilities. The temperature rises to 24 degrees, humidity climbing. Mosquitoes swarm around floodlights, still burning from the night before. The scene looks clean, efficient, final. It isn't. 0947 hours. In a secure hangar, analysts replay combined footage from all regions. A clock overlay syncs each breach, explosion, and arrest. Every timestamp matches within 1 second. One of them slows the video, pointing at recurring flares. A red pulse in the corner of every frame. The pulse aligns with transmission beacons activated before each raid. The network had been guiding itself. Nothing to fix, because nothing malfunctioned. The realization is quiet, absolute. The operation achieved its objective through perfect error. 10-15 hours, Mobile's runway dries under full sun. The last C-130 lifts off, engines roaring, wheels retracting. From altitude 2,000 feet, the coastline looks peaceful. Convoys shrink to dots. The storm has passed, but data still flows unseen. In the aircraft's cargo bay, seized crates vibrate against tie-down straps. An agent watches the altimeter climb and notes the exact reading. 2,800 feet, steady climb at 3 meters per second. The mission's noise fades behind him, leaving only the hum of systems still running, still transmitting. He doesn't know where the signals go. By midday, every report file is sealed, marked preliminary success pending verification. Streets reopen. News outlets broadcast aerial shots of the airfield, lines of detainees, stacks of seized weapons. The public sees order restored. Internally, the agencies run silent audits, tracing the mirrored timing keys, the Houston equipment, the missing aircraft. No answers yet. The system cleans itself, slowly, automatically. Rainwater drains off the tarmac. Helicopter echoes fade toward the horizon. Beneath the calm, the clock that betrayed them keeps counting, precise to the millisecond, waiting for the next operation to begin.